Hi, I'm Brendan, co-founder of Stella, and I'm going to show you how to run an incrementality study for a Google ad channel. So this video, I'm going to show you the full channel level analysis. In a different video, I'll show you how to do a campaign level analysis and more specifically performance max, because those campaigns get a little tricky. So ultimately, what an incrementality study is removing ads from one location and measuring the overall impact to sales. That can be determined only as a result of the ads being live previously. My tool Stella makes this very, very easy for all marketers from all levels, like a junior marketer all the way to a highly technical CMO, to run incrementality studies and reach statistical significance with each experiment run. So let me show you how easy we make it within Stella. So first, if we go over to the Stella platform, we can create a new study here. Stella will then take us step by step to fill out the study correctly. Obviously, the first thing is just the study name. We'll just say test study for this video. We'll submit. And now we'll look at the platform to test and our success metric platform. So the platform we're testing is Google Ads. And we don't want to measure success from Google Ads, or we don't want to measure success within the Google Ads dashboard, because obviously if we turn off ads in one location, we'll see no conversions in that location. What we want is to look at wherever the .com or direct to consumer or even Amazon is hosted and look at the overall sales numbers from that platform. So let's just say Shopify. Most of our clients are using Shopify. So the platform we're testing is Google. The success metric platform is then Shopify. We'll submit and go to the next step. Now, this is where we can pick the different test type. This part is important because Stella has multiple different data models that change depending on what test type we choose here. Now, when you talk about incrementality studies, a lot of people think incrementality studies is all geo holdout experiments. And this isn't technically true by definition, where most incrementality studies are actually inverse holdouts, meaning we currently have ads live. We're going to exclude some locations from those currently live campaigns, and we want to monitor a negative impact, which would mean when ads were live, they were driving a positive impact. Whereas a geo holdout, which is more commonly known, is when you would activate a new channel. So let's say you activate a large nationwide TV campaign, and you purposely hold out a few locations to monitor the effects of that TV campaign. That's what an inverse holdout is. Most of the tests we run at Stella are inverse holdouts. Most of our clients do not know what inverse holdouts are until we have told them. So let's submit in next steps. Now, another thing we see very frequently is in incrementality studies, if you do them on your own, a lot of people like to pick their own locations. There's a lot of statistics that go into picking the correct locations to reach statistical significance. We actually see a lot of people come to us saying, we ran a study in the past and we want to analyze it on Stella. And the largest mistake they've made is they have picked the wrong locations. It's very common to see people picking 25 states in the United States compared to the other 25 states, but this doesn't tend to lead to statistically significant results. So in Stella, we have a location selection tool over here. We look at the last 90, 120 days of data for your client. So if we copy this Google Sheet and pull it over here, Stella will ask us to map all the fields. So date column, probably just need to move this out of the way. Date, state, sales, and then we'll run this. Stella will now process this data for the next about 5 minutes. And Stella will tell us the best locations to turn off. It'll tell us how long we need to turn off those locations and then how much investment needs to be held back at a minimum to reach statistical significance with this specific client. So I'll pause and wait until Stella comes back with the results. Okay, so here's what Stella came back with. Stella will give us 6 different options here. Best holdout locations, how long we'll need to turn off the ads for, and the minimum investment required to hit statistical significance based on Stella's synthetic data models. So looking at this data, we want to look for the smallest investment with the smallest model fit. That's basically the requirements. And looking at all of this, it looks like this option here, District of Columbia, Indiana, New Jersey, and New York are our best options. because it's the smallest investment, which is 4,700, and the best model fit, or the smallest model fit, which is 56%. And we're looking for a negative effect size because we're doing an inverse holdout, meaning we're expecting negative incremental revenue because we're turning off ads that were previously live. So these are going to be the best options: District of Columbia, Indiana, New Jersey, and New York. So now we'll go back to the study form here, and we can change this to states and do District of Columbia, New York. I'm actually kind of forgetting what I just said. And let's say we fill out all the rest of them. What we recommend at Stella, if you're doing an incrementality study in one nation, so like the United States, or even United States and Canada, what we would recommend as a control group are all other locations. And the reason we do this is because if a sale goes live, if an out of inventory happens, this should happen across all states. So Stella can identify a anomaly or a confounder from the control group location compared to the test group. So this is the best way for Stella to get a good model fit to analyze the data. So I'll remember the rest of the test group. Let's just, for this video, let's just move forward. And now Stella will ask the dates of the test. Typically, the date is starting today, and then it ends in 20 days from now. Just for the purpose of this video, we have test data that I'll use. But before we can actually start the test, we need to exclude the locations from Google. So we have DC, Indiana, New Jersey, and New York. Let's go over to Google and find our campaigns. So this is just a test or just a sample account, but there's no way to exclude locations at Google at the account level like there is for Meta. So for Google, we'll have to go into each live campaign and make sure we exclude the locations from our experience. So I'll show you how to do that. In the campaigns tab, under each campaign, if you hover over it, this gear icon will pop up. You click it, it'll start showing you the settings for that campaign. Now, we'll want to look at locations. So right now we're just targeting the United States, and we'll have to click this option, enter another location here, where we'll click and start adding our excluded territories or regions. So first was District of Columbia, and we'll exclude it. District of Columbia, it was like New Jersey, I think, New York, New Jersey, and Indiana. I don't know why I'm forgetting them. New Jersey and Indiana. Exclude. And then if we're changing this, we'll want to make sure that we are also targeting all of the United States. So we have the country we're including and then all of the countries we're excluding. Now we can go ahead and save this and basically rinse and repeat for each campaign we have live in an account. So now let's go back to Stella. And now we can pick our date. So we can pick whatever today's date is. For this video, I just wanted to show you. So I'm using test data from a different time period. So this is the test data we have here. So this is what would be pulled at the end of the analysis. So the end of the 20 days. In Stella, we have a template, which is here, that will basically show you this template and help you organize the data, because there's a lot of matching that needs to be done. It's very advanced, but our template makes it very easy for you. So when your test is finished, you'll then need to export the data into Stella's Google Sheet template. And I'll show you how to export the data within Google Ads and Shopify. That can be used in the Google Sheet template to consolidate everything and match up date, state, revenue, and spend. So within Google Ads, if we come over to the reports editor, so insights and reports, and the reports editor, we'll be able to create a custom report. And what we're looking for within Google is basically spend by, it'll be state matched. So we have state matched. And since we're doing a channel level incrementality study, we don't need to add a filter. But if you were doing a campaign specific incrementality study like Performance Max or just brand, then add a filter on top of this. But now let's look back. We typically need the last 90 days of data, including the study itself. So like the 20 days of the study. So let's see, this is like going back for a while. We'll do last 30 days, and then we'll just bring it up to like here for 90. Apply. Now we have state and cost, but now we also need another row for day. Let's actually update it. So now we have day, state, and cost. So in Alabama on October 1st, we spent $9. In Alaska, we spent $2.70 on Google. So now this is the correct data, and we can go ahead and download it as a Google Sheet and move that data into our template. Now for Shopify, it is just as easy. It's just a different interface. Again, we want to look at the last 90 days of data. We'll press apply. We can look at gross sales. We typically recommend looking at gross sales, but we could also run the analysis based on net sales, net profit if you're tracking that, or just new customer acquisition. So we have done that multiple times where we've run an incrementality study to see the impact on new customer revenue. So now we have gross sales by day. We need to add in a dimension of billing region. Perfect. Now you can see each day the billing region and then gross sales coming in for each one. And this is how we would set this up and export. They've changed this around. Export here. So we'd export as a CSV, import it into our Google Sheet, and then the Stella template within the Stella platform will tell you paste this here, and then Stella runs all the formulas to combine everything. Because obviously we need to match date, state, revenue, orders, and spend all together. So this is for October 20th through November 10th, and that's what I'll set the date range in Stella to be. And submit. Okay, cool. Now once this stops loading, we're ready to run the final analysis. Let's pretend this has been 20 days. We've ran the analysis. We've excluded these locations from Google. So this is what we do next. So we'll navigate to the post-test analysis tab, get the data template. I've already done that for us here. We'll go ahead and copy this template and paste it here. Stella will now read the template and ask us to map the fields. This is pretty self-explanatory. And then we can press submit data. If we need to update any of Stella's data models or account for a delay, we can do so in the advanced options, but most of the time we don't need to do this, and we'll go ahead and submit the data. Now, this will take between 5 to 10 minutes to analyze, and it will tell you your iROAS, the overall incremental revenue, and it'll show you the model fit and pretty much all the data that you need to draw a good analysis based on how incremental Google Ads is for this client. Yeah, and it'll tell you if the data has reached stat sig, so if you can believe the results or trust the results. So I'll check back when that analysis is finished. So now that we can go back to the Stella platform and look at the dashboard after the analysis is finished running. All the metrics will start to populate and we'll start to see these charts. It's a little bit of it's a lot of information to digest off the bat. And that's why we have Stella as an AI agent that can read every single chart over here and tell you what it means, how to explain it to your client, and what actions to take within the actual account itself. So what we're seeing here is a negative incremental revenue value of $74,000, which is what we expected being negative, which is a good thing in this case, meaning we turned off ads, and in the test locations, we saw a decrease of $74,000. We would have spent $7,600 if we kept ads live, which bring our incremental ROAS to a 9.70, and we did reach statistical significance. The ICPO is a $5.42, which is also very good for this client. Now, some of these charts here, like this model fit chart, show before the test started, how good is our model fit from, after the test runs to compare. We have the incremental revenue. So this is what is happening during our test, where the predicted value is a little bit higher than the actual value here, showing that we turned off ads and actual revenue driven in those locations was less than what we would predict based on our model. And this is our overall impact of revenue here. That shows how many sales or how much revenue we've lost altogether. But it's really hard for me to explain it myself. But if I click on this chart and I screenshot it, send it to Stella, I can just say what does this chart mean? Oop, and send. And these are things Stella can help explain. I can also ask Stella, you know, what does this chart mean and how do I explain it to my non-technical client? So here's Stella's output here. We can also look at all of this and click what are the three biggest insights here. We have some pre-made prompts. Cool. And Stella kind of explains each example to you. So now let's say my in-platform ROAS is a 6.02. What is my incrementality factor? What should I set my in-platform ROAS to now to maximize incremental revenue? So now Stella will do a calculation and kind of show its work to explain to you what you can do now. So it's saying the incrementality factor for Google in your case would be 161%, meaning if you are setting your target ROAS in the account to a 6 and you're achieving a 6, you could potentially lower this platform ROAS to a 3.74 and still achieve a 6-to-1 incremental ROAS, but with the lower target ROAS, you're able to scale much more, put more spend through Google, and ultimately increase incremental revenue. So that's how you would run an incrementality study for Google Ads within Stella. It's very easy. Oh, yeah, we also have you can download a screenshot. You can download a full report, which will generate a slideshow. So if you're ready, if you have to present to your client in the next hour, this is a really great tool because you'll download a report and then be able to show it to your client almost immediately. But yeah, this is how you run an incrementality study in Stella for Google Ads. From this account, it looks like Stella is showing that Google Ads is highly incremental and should be invested more into.